Okay, we're going to talk about Ritchie Blackmore's top 3 plagiarisms. The top 3 times when Ritchie Blackmore stole a lick or stole a melody and created a hit song out of it. And to be honest, it's going to be the top 3 plus an honorary mention, so I encourage you to stick around all the way to the end of the video. And also, in this particular case, I'm going to be giving you my opinions, but they're backed up by none other than Ritchie Blackmore himself. So here we go, starting off with number 3. I'm going to choose the song Black Knight. The song was recorded in May of 1970, released in June of 1970. It went to number 1 on the UK New Musical Express Melody Maker and Top Pops charts, and it's credited to the entire band Deep Purple. It later was included on the album In Rock. Now let's listen to Ritchie Blackmore talk about the song Black Knight.
That was part of a song that I heard from Ricky Nelson, who did it in 1962, I think, as Summertime. And that's where I got the idea for the riff.
Okay, so that first part was the riff as Blackmore created it, and the second part was Rick Nelson.
So it was not entirely original. I stole it.
Okay, so he admits right there, he says, quote, "I stole it." And we'll get back to that in a minute, but first we're going to go to the next song. The next song I choose is Lazy. Lazy was recorded in December of 1971 and released in March of 1972, and it was on the album Machine Head. Now let's listen to Ritchie Blackmore talk about the origins of this song.
That was actually, Lazy was inspired by Eric Clapton, because Lazy went something like, there was a thing called, by Eric Clapton called, I don't know what it is, but it went something like,
Okay, so the Clapton song is actually Cream, and it's called Steppin' Out, and it's off Live Cream Volume 2 from 1972. So right there we have 2 examples where Blackmore openly admits his source material for a song that he created for Deep Purple, and as in the case with Black Knight, Lazy is credited to the entire band. So we can take away a couple of things from that. One is whenever he borrowed something, he didn't go so far as to put his name on it. He shared it with the entire band. Second is those are both like really obvious examples of plagiarism, of taking a direct riff from somebody else and using it for your own purposes. And again, I'll get back to this in a minute. Now I'm going to mention my number 1 instance of his plagiarisms, and he's not going to comment on this one. This one's purely on my own, which is the song Lady of the Lake, which comes off the Long Live Rock and Roll album that Blackmore did with Rainbow. And the source material for that one is obviously Led Zeppelin's song, the Wonton song. So they're incredibly similar. And I like what Blackmore did with the original Zeppelin idea. But again, it's almost in the same league with what he did according to his own account with Black Knight and Lazy. Alright, so I said there would be an honorary mention, and that honorary mention, believe it or not, is his most famous song, Smoke on the Water. Now, let's listen to what Blackmore had to say about the origins of that song.
I listened to Ludwig and Beethoven. Bum, 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 bum. And I thought, play that backwards. Put something to it, and you've got bum, 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 bum. That's how I came up with it.
So right there he says the way that he came up with the Smoke on the Water riff is to do the signature motif of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony backwards. And I think that at least deserves an honorary mention, because even though it's not plagiarism, it's an inversion. It is using a direct inspiration of pre-existing source material. Now, of course, none of this is a bit unusual for any musician in popular or rock music. They borrow from each other all the time in any form of music, really. And the reason that I made the video and the reason that I included Ritchie Blackmore's comments is because what is unusual in this circumstance is to have a musician comment so openly on what they've done. And I think this is pretty classy for a person who has a bad reputation so far as fan outreach and getting along with other musicians and even exploiting other musicians. He's done a decent job of admitting some of his outright songwriting thefts, and he's not seemingly too ashamed of it because he knows this is what goes on in the music industry all the time. In addition to these examples, there are probably many others, but I also want to point out that Blackmore's an incredibly creative songwriter. He's very inventive, and he may have borrowed a lick here and there, but when he plays solos, he's known for always doing them on the fly. He's a great improvisational musician, and he's a great composer. This is what I think, but what really matters is what you think. So if you have an idea about this or any other topic connected to classic or contemporary music, please drop it in the section below, and remember to like and subscribe. Also, check out the join button that's available for you now. If you join, you'll gain access to members-only badges, members-only videos, and members-only polls, as well as other cool perks you'll see when you click the button. You can also support the channel by clicking on the Buy Me a Coffee link, going to the Buy Me a Coffee site, and leaving a donation. Every little bit helps this channel stay strong. Thanks a lot.